Live from WTVO 17 and your home team. Eyewitness News at 5 starts now.
COVID-19 showing no signs of slowing down in the state line as cases climb. We hear from a local doctor who warns the upcoming holidays could mean more challenges for area hospitals. And hours of screen time now taking a toll on our students. 3 tips experts have to get your kids engaged while learning at home. And a pair of Rockford men making history in Green Bay this afternoon. Scott Leber shows us the action as Dean Lowry and James Robinson go head-to-head. Good evening, I'm Elliot Grandia. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. Well, cases of coronavirus continue to surge in our region. Let's take a look at that right now. Right now, the 7-day positivity rate sitting at nearly 21%. It's the highest it's ever been. Boone County is even higher at 29%, nearly 1 in 3 people testing positive. You can see the rest of the region on your screen. Only Joe Daviess County seeing a drop. Of course, keeping a close eye on the number of hospital beds also available in the region. According to health officials, 31% of general beds and 35% of ICU beds are open. Experts telling us that rate needs to stay above 20%. Statewide, more than 10,600 new cases of COVID confirmed. 72 people have died. Illinois is nearly 600,000 total cases since this pandemic started. In all, the virus has claimed 10,631 lives. Oh, Thanksgiving less than 2 weeks away. State line doctors warning us right now all 3 hospitals could run out of room for patients over the holidays if cases continue to go up. Now, as it stands right now, Swedish-American doctor Dr. James Cole says our hospitals are seeing double the COVID patients they saw in the springtime when cases were first peaking. On top of that, hospital visits typically spike around the holidays as well from other illnesses. And with COVID now in play, there's only so many patients the hospitals can treat before they have to turn away care.
If somebody with COVID-19 is admitted to the ICU, whereas typical ICU stays are only a matter of a few days, COVID-19 patients remain at least twice that long, sometimes up to many weeks, consuming the most precious of hospital-based resources, which include ICU beds, ventilators, and critical care staff.
Dr. Cole went on to say already there's hospitals in the Midwest who can't accept transfer patients because they're full. And a reminder, COVID once again forcing state drivers services to shut down. Facilities will be closed starting tomorrow. They're expected to reopen December 7th. CDL services, including the location on Baxter Road in Rockford, will remain open. Driver's license and ID cards with February, March, April, and May 2021 expiration dates. Those have a little bit more time to renew as well. That deadline is now June 1st of next year. Well, your next trip to Walmart may look a little different. The retail giant now saying it'll again start counting customers as they enter and leave its stores. You might remember back in April, waiting in lines to get in. The store was running at roughly 20% capacity then. Well, Walmart's also spreading Black Friday sales over the just time to limit the number of people in stores during the peak holiday shopping season. For many, technology has played a critical role in connecting us to family, work, school. Apps like Zoom allowing for face-to-face talks, but staring at the screen can often cause worries of its own. Michelle Ravi speaking with a local parent whose young student now dealing with a newly invented condition, Zoom fatigue.
And it's a challenge to get them to sit and stare at the screen, sit in their seat, pay attention, not pay attention to what's going around at home. Make sure that they're working on what they're supposed to do.
For mother of 3, Bridget Dillon, it's sometimes a challenge to get her little one, Sebastian, who's in kindergarten, to pay attention to his Zoom classes.
Zoom fatigue is real, and any adult who has had back-to-back Zoom meetings knows this just sort of intuitively. For children, it's a little bit different.
According to school psychologist Rebecca Brandstetter, kids are also dealing with Zoom fatigue, but says there are ways to deal with it.
So one thing that I would advise parents to do if you're home with your kids while they're distance learning, or if you have a caregiver helping out, make sure they take movement breaks. Play tag outside, run around, move your bodies.
And while Sebastian loves learning, being able to pay attention can be a challenge.
I'll see him like slouching in his chair and not paying attention, or he has a marker or like a toy. He's like, oh, give me the marker, give me the toy. You have to pay attention. Listen to what the teacher's saying. What are you supposed to be doing now?
So parents and caregivers at home can do this. So, if you can't sit down with your child all day long next to them on Zoom, and many parents cannot, it's that check-in. Catch them, hey, good job, the little wink, the nudge, the hello, the atta girl. Those things can really help because you're giving them that nonverbal communication.
It's important to make sure kids have a safe space to talk about any problems they're having as well.
So our number one goal right now should be to connect with our children and help them process any difficult feelings that they're having right now. It's giving them a gift of being able to cope with stress in the future.
Dylan says she's doing what she can and is taking it day by day.
But it has its challenges, but I feel like everybody is doing their best to make it work, to make it worthwhile. We're doing what we can.
Reporting in Rockford for your home team, I'm Michelle Rave.
A lot of parents doing what they can. Well, we want to help you out. We have more links to resources for parents. You can find those on our website. It's mystateline.com. 3 people are hurt after a single car crash in Boone County. This all happened overnight on Riverside Road. The Boone County Fire Protection District providing these pictures of the crash. There you can see the car hit a pair of trees. There was significant damage. Not clear, though, what caused that crash. 3 people were taken to the hospital. No word yet on the extent of their injuries at this time. More gamblers placing their bets on sports here in Illinois. According to the Illinois Gaming Board, bettors wagered more than $285 million in September. October numbers, those aren't available just yet. First legal sports bet in Illinois was placed in early March. The first 3 months of betting, about $3 million in tax revenue was produced. Governor J.B. Pritzker's office suggesting sports gambling could actually bring in the state $100 million every year. We're going to bet a lot of people were watching the Packers game today. Scott Leber, of course, joining us with more on that. Hey, Scott.
Yeah, we had 2 of our own Rockford guys in this game between the Jaguars and the Packers. That has never happened before in the NFL. James Robinson for the Jaguars and, of course, Dean Lowry for the Packers. Robinson had a very productive day. He carried the ball 23 times for 109 yards. It's his third 100-yard rushing day this year. He also scored 2 touchdowns, but both of them were called back by penalties. Lowry made his biggest play late in the game when he pressured Jake Luton and batted down a pass as the Jaguars were trying to drive for a go-ahead score. The Packers held on to win the game 24-20. More in this game later in sports. Elliot?
All right, thanks a lot, Scott. Well, preparing for takeoff, astronauts board a SpaceX rocket for a night launch. The International Space Station, the work they'll do on board as they orbit the Earth.
And officially, our high temperature today made it into the 50s, going down in the record books at 54 degrees. But it felt anything like that this afternoon. In fact, we've been stuck in the 30s and the low 40s. I'll explain why we've been so windy and when we could see a return of the 60s. That is coming up in your most trusted forecast a little later.
You're watching Eyewitness News, your home team, with Alexis Carpello, David Greenberg, and Chief Meteorologist Candice King.
Looks like all systems are go for a history-making mission for NASA. For just the second time in a decade, astronauts will lift off from American soil. It's all part of the first operational flight of SpaceX's Crew Dragon capsule. Gio Benitez has more from Cape Canaveral.
The countdown has started. The 4 astronauts are on their way to the launch pad for tonight's historic SpaceX Dragon launch. All eyes, though, on the weather. Will rain, thick clouds, and lightning get in the way? The forecast is 50-50.
The concern for flying both the rocket and the Dragon capsule through any precipitation.
NASA concerned not just about the rocket lifting off, but also coming back down after releasing the astronauts into orbit.
We're going to reuse the first stage that we're flying on Crew 1. So It's important to recover that booster, and so we needed to get the drone ship in place.
28 hours later, once the astronauts are on the space station, NASA says they'll be conducting transformational research, especially when it comes to medical breakthroughs. And it's work these astronauts can't wait to get started. First-time flyer Victor Glover telling us it will be the trip of a lifetime.
I can't wait to go up above 100 kilometers and to live on the space station, and that fascination that I look forward to sharing with people, I have it as well. It burns bright.
And what about that spaceship's name, Resilience? A nod to what the world has gone through this year.
You know that year 2020 is a tough year for everyone, and we'd like to bring a positive image for the people who's watching our mission.
Gio Benitez, ABC News, Cape Canaveral, Florida.
Well, the wind made for a chilly day across the state line today, but another warm-up could be on the way. Don't worry. When we come back, Candice will have your complete first weather-warned forecast. You're watching Eyewitness News at 5.
Now, your first warned weather forecast with Chief Meteorologist Candice King.
Man, I tell you, that wind has gone right through you. Maybe made it feel like the house was going to kind of fall apart a little bit as those winds have been gusting close to 50 to even 55 miles per hour today. In a few spots, those winds have gotten up to 60 miles per hour. That's been mostly to our east, but the wind advisory that does continue for all in northern Illinois and southern Wisconsin. Northern Illinois counties, that goes for the next 45 minutes until about 6 o'clock. Southern Wisconsin, so that includes you in Monroe, Janesville, and out in Lake Geneva. .37 miles per hour in Freeport and Rockford, 39 in Rochelle, and 38 in DeKalb. Those are the wind gusts. Winds will be coming down just a little bit here as we go through the overnight tonight, but really not noticing that until about 9, 10 o'clock this evening. Now, why has it been so windy? Well, we had a deepening low pressure system develop yesterday to our west and northwest. That quickly strengthened as it's now up into the northern Great Lakes and into southeastern Canada. So that is one reason why we had that low pressure system, well, why we had the wind, I should say, strengthen. Another reason, high pressure, very strong area of high pressure located over the far southern plains. So the difference in pressure between those two has really allowed that westerly wind to pick up. And as they kind of move farther apart from each other later tonight, we'll notice that winds start to lighten up. But we're still going to be hanging on to those winds gusting at about 35 miles per hour through roughly about 9, 10 o'clock this evening. Now, along with the wind, we've had the cloud cover, but there's also been some drizzles, some light sprinkles, and even some sleet and flurries kind of mixed in with that. Notice a little bit of an uptick on some of the radar here over the last hour, but that is all pushing off to the east, and our clouds are actually beginning to break just a bit back further to our west and southwest. So we'll actually see some of that cloud cover continue to break apart as we go through this evening. 40 degrees in Rockford, but it feels like 29, 38 in Rochelle, and 39 in Dixon. Officially, our high temperature today, 54, but we've been anything but in the 50s today as we've been stuck in the 30s and the 40s. And tonight, as our skies clear out, our temperatures will go down into the 20s. You can actually see a little bit of clearing there on our Mercial SkyTrack cameras. We look off to our southwest up in Beloit, Wisconsin, but you see that camera shaking a bit. Now, since we were stuck in the cloud cover today, we've got to say a big thank you to Steve for sharing his fall photo with us. C. King at WTVO.com is where you can share those fall pictures. It'll be nice to see the sunshine, and we get a return of that as we head into the afternoon tomorrow. It is still going to be a little breezy tomorrow with a southwesterly wind, but nothing compared to what we had yesterday or today. Now, there is a quick moving system that'll pass mostly to our north. We'll see the cloud cover kind of build up a little bit north of the state line. Not going to rule out maybe a very, very light shower about 6, 7 o'clock tomorrow evening as another cold front comes in, but that's about it. High pressure builds in behind that, and that'll leave us with a mostly sunny sky as we head into our Tuesday. So temperatures tonight down to 28 degrees, windy and cold this evening. Sprinkles, flurries, those are moving off to the east. Temperature tomorrow up near 48. Kind of a chilly morning, a little breezy with that southwesterly wind, gusting at about 25 miles per hour. Here's the next 7 days. We actually warm into the 50s. You've got one day where we see the temperatures, Elliot, in the 60s. Slight chance, and that rain chance returns as we head into the weekend.
Now, the Napleton Sports Desk with Sports Director Scott Leber.
It has been a proud day in the 815, watching two of our own Rockford guys suit up for one NFL game. James Robinson and his Jacksonville Jaguars took on Dean Lowry and his Green Bay Packers in the first All-Rockford showdown at the NFL level. Robinson got off to a hot start. He carried the ball 8 times for 51 yards in the first quarter. He got 20 on this play when he unfortunately slipped. Early in the second, Aaron Rodgers throws to Marquez Valdez-Scantling. He has it, and then lets his fancy footwork do the rest. It's a 78-yard touchdown, and the Packers' longest of the year. They led it 7-3. The Jaguars answered that with a punt return for a touchdown, but Aaron Rodgers brought the Packers back. He scored on a 5-yard run. The Packers led 17-10 at halftime. In the third quarter, it's Robinson, and he will get to the end zone here, but unfortunately for him, it was called back by a penalty. In the fourth quarter, it's Robinson again, breaking through the defense, and he will fight his way into the end zone again, but again it was called back by a penalty. He finished the day with 109 yards rushing. With 9 minutes to play, the Packers were down 3. Rodgers throws high to the end zone where he knows Davante Adams can handle it, and he does. The Packers escape with a 24-20 win over the 1-8 Jaguars.
We're happy with the win, although we didn't play our best, and we all know that. I think we recognize that. We didn't play to our standard.
The other NFC North team in action was the Lions. They hosted Washington. 3 seconds to play. Game tied at 27. Matthew Prater boots a 59-yard field goal, and it is good. The Lions are showing life. They're 4-5 now. They beat Washington 30-27. The Bears will take the field tomorrow night at Soldier Field against the Vikings. Offensive coordinator Bill Lazor will be calling the plays for the first time. He was asked what areas on the Bears' struggling offense he wants to see pop tomorrow night. He says he wants them to eliminate mistakes.
The first thing you do is not lose by eliminating those errors where your communication or something just isn't quite right. I mean, I think all of us as pros take great pride in the details and the little things. And so that would be the first thing.
Well, last year at the Masters, Tiger Woods was in all his glory. Today in the final round, it was quite the opposite, especially on the 12th hole. It's part of Amen Corner, but Tiger probably had some different words to describe it. We speed it up here. 3 times, Tiger hit his ball into Rays Creek. 3 times he took drops. Twice he had to hit out of a bunker. And when he finally did get on the green, he 2-putted. He needed 10 strokes in the par 3 hole. That's the worst hole of Tiger's pro career. Most of us would have had a meltdown after that, but Tiger birdied 5 of his last 6 holes and finished with a 76. It was Dustin Johnson's tournament. He started the day up 4 strokes. The lead dwindled to 1 after he bogeyed holes 5 and 6, but he rebounded, shot a 68, and won by 5 strokes. He's finished 20 under par. That's a Masters record. So Johnson, the 2016 U.S. Open winner, is now a Masters champion.
As a kid, dream of playing in the Masters and, dream about putting on a green jacket. I still kind of think it's a dream, but hopefully it's not.
That's sports. We'll be right back.